The last few months have been one of the most defining moments in hip-hop. A shift in power, a new era, and a changing of the guard. Things have especially been rough for Drake and his entourage, though. They've taken the biggest losses in this whole drama, and every day they make even more embarrassing moves that only solidify why they deserve the beatdown Kendrick gave them. And now, after Drake's latest shenanigans with his lawsuit, his biggest supporter and defender throughout the feud, DJ Akademiks, has just found himself in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and trust us when we say what Akademiks is being accused of is so bad, his career might never recover. Axe is arguably the most disliked Drake supporter on social media, and for good reason. The way he twisted narratives and went out of his way to defend Drake during the beef made him deeply unpopular across the wider hip-hop community. People have been waiting for him to slip up, and what a way to do it. If you thought some of Drake's actions were weird, Akademiks just took things to a whole new level. Now it's clear why he was so loud in his support for Drake. He had skeletons in his own closet, and he knew it was only a matter of time before people exposed him for the fraud that he is. Well, the moment has finally come, and now everyone is seeing the weird and disgusting things he's allegedly been doing behind the scenes. At this point, it's hard to see a way back for Akademiks. The backlash is only getting worse, and as more people catch wind of the situation, it's becoming clear that he's in serious trouble. The crazy part? He is in denial about everything. Prominent names and brands in the industry are already distancing themselves from him, and if he doesn't figure out a way to steady the ship, he could lose everything. The line between a hero and a villain can be pretty thin, and considering Ak was never really a hero, this fall from grace is going to be even more brutal. Some of y'all are probably wondering, what did he do that's so bad? Well, before we dive into the juicy details, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the drama. Now, there's no doubt that DJ Akademiks worked his way to the top when it comes to hip-hop commentary, but we also can't ignore the fact that he's made a lot of enemies along the way thanks to his biased opinions and sometimes downright bizarre behavior. Now, he's being accused of attempting to groom an underage boy. Yeah, you heard that right. For someone as controversial as Ak, that's the absolute last thing you'd want your name attached to. Now, even the people who once backed him and put him in a position of influence are turning their backs on him, and rightfully so. No one in their right mind wants to be associated with someone accused of something this disturbing, and the fact that his entire brand in recent months has revolved around Drake, yeah, that just makes this situation even weirder. Hell, even without that massive following, what is a 30-year-old man doing asking a 15-year-old boy about his sex life? It's just insane to think about and comprehend. What did he expect was going to happen when something like this got out? Maybe he thought he was untouchable. After all, he's got a little fame in the game. But now that the clip has surfaced, and with the insane backlash that followed, he's scrambling to save face. Well, the cat's out of the bag now, and the world knows the creepy things you do in your free time, Ak. The fact that Akademiks initially acted like what he said was normal is what really set social media on fire. Even Meek Mill, who once had his own back and forth with Axe, couldn't resist clowning him for his desperate attempts to defend himself. And honestly, the way Akademiks carried himself in that clip was so cringe, makes you wonder how he even got famous in the first place. The wildest part, the 15-year-old he was talking to sounded way more articulate and mature than he did. It's embarrassing, really, especially for a man with such a massive platform in hip-hop to be caught in a situation like this. The real kicker here, though, was the moment Axe tried to justify his behavior by saying this is what rappers have always done. That excuse was somehow even worse than the act itself. Like, what are you saying? How do you even rationalize something this insane? And let's not forget his closest industry friends are people like Drake. Is he really implying that he's seen this type of behavior firsthand in the circles he moves in? Because if that's the case, he just exposed more than he realizes. It's almost like he accidentally let slip the kind of things that go on behind the scenes in the industry. The fact that he genuinely believes talking to underage boys or girls like that is normal says a lot, either about him or about the people he hangs around with, or maybe a combination of the two. Everyone knows that Akademiks thrives on controversy. That's his whole brand, but this is not the kind of controversy you want your name attached to. And yet, in classic Akademiks fashion, rather than take responsibility, he's managed to make things 10 times worse. Despite the massive backlash, the relentless criticism, and people cutting ties, Axe is standing his ground, refusing to admit he was out of line. He has been doubling down, insisting he did nothing wrong, and claiming he won't apologize for something everyone else has done. But that's the thing, just because others have done it doesn't make it right. And the fact that he doesn't see that, well, that tells you everything you need to know about his character. Watching his recent streams, it's clear that Akademiks is rattled. You can hear it in his voice and see it in his body language, but instead of owning up to his mistake, he's putting on a front, acting like he doesn't care about the backlash. He keeps insisting he did nothing wrong, which is kinda wild. Of all the people in the entertainment business, Axe should be the one who cares about not losing his audience. Who is Akademiks without his platform? A nobody. But his refusal to be held accountable is exposing exactly the kind of person he is when no one's watching, and let's be real, his biggest problem is that he just doesn't know when to shut the hell up. Once he starts talking, he can't stop, even when he's digging his own grave. Look at how he handled the whole Drake and LeBron James drama. He was so desperate to back Drake that he ended up saying weird things about him by accident. Akademiks is a loose cannon, and once he gets going, he only makes things messier. No one burns bridges as quickly as Akademiks does, and now he's managed to start beef with multiple streamers while somehow dragging his best buddy Drake right into the middle of it. It's no surprise that Axe took shots at streamer Plaqueboy Max. After all, Max is friends with the young boy Axe was talking to inappropriately, which means the clip probably made its way online because Max wanted the world to see it. But the interesting part is Akademiks saying he's done with people like Kai Cenat because he's supposedly a bigger streamer than them. That just proves how naive and short-sighted he truly is. This is guaranteed to be one of his many takes that ends up aging poorly. At this time, it's clear all these rants about being the biggest streamer are just distraction tactics. Akademiks is trying to take a page out of Drake's playbook, flip the narrative, and paint yourself as the victim. He really wants us to believe that the disgusting things he said weren't a big deal and that everyone is just overreacting. That's some pretty wild gaslighting, and the fact that he even suggested that Kendrick Lamar's fans are the ones making this a big deal just so they can drag him? Well, that's hilariously delusional. So now Akademiks is saying his own audience is full of Kendrick stans. Yeah, it's true that K-Dot fans don't rock with Akademiks, but calling him out for something this disturbing has nothing to do with fan wars. He needs to do better than that. The way Akademiks is scrambling to shift blame onto everyone but himself is exactly why so many people can't stand him or his controversial takes. At some point, he's got to look in the mirror and realize that he did this to himself. He built this mess from the ground up, and honestly, it feels like this moment was a long time coming. He probably thought being controversial and saying wild things would keep him going viral, and sure, that might work for a while. But there's a thin line between being edgy and being outright creepy, and once you cross it, there's no coming back. Now that the internet has seen that weird clip, there's nowhere for Akademiks to hide. No excuse, no spin, no narrative can save him this time. And instead of taking accountability, he's doubling down, dragging his beef with Kendrick's fans into it, and somehow pulling Drake into the mess too. He's out here bragging about his relationship with Drizzy, claiming that despite public perception, they're still cool. He even went as far as saying Drake has his back because he understands what it's like to have false narratives pushed against him. Wait, what? Is Axe really trying to compare his situation to Drake's? That's pretty insane. If Akademiks ever faced even a fraction of the backlash Drake has gotten in the past few months, his career would be over in a heartbeat. He'd be nothing but a footnote in streamer history. Now, to be fair, maybe Akademiks is telling the truth about his friendship with Drake. They do share a lot of similarities after all. Just look at how Akademiks has been unraveling ever since this controversy hit. The way he refuses to admit he messed up. Well, that's the same exact thing his best buddy Drake has been doing lately. Their complete lack of self-awareness is proof that they really are made for each other. The fact that Akademiks is embodying exactly the things Kendrick rapped about on Not Like Us is so ironic. Who would have thought we'd see the day when Akademiks is the one in the hot seat? And man, the meltdown has been catastrophic. The harder he tries to control the narrative, the more explosive it gets. His haters have been waiting for this moment for years, and now that it's here, they're not letting up. Honestly, I believe it's well deserved. At this point, everyone can see just how out of touch DJ Akademiks really is, especially with the way he's reacting to the trolls. Every single thing he said on stream over the past few days has only made things worse. His already shaky reputation looks shattered beyond repair, and for someone who thrives on controversy, he clearly never imagined himself being at the center of one this big. The negative PR is through the roof, and Axe is probably just realizing that his career will never be the same after this. We all know plenty of labels and independent artists work with Akademiks to promote their music on his platform, but now, that revenue tap is drying up fast. No label is going to want to associate their artists with the image Axe is protecting right now. Allegations of being a groomer aren't something you just shake off. This is the kind of thing that can destroy years of hard work in minutes, and Axe is getting a front row seat to that reality. It's obvious this experience is completely new to him. This is probably one of the lowest moments of his streaming career. He slipped up and got exposed for the creepiest thing ever, the kind of scandal that ends careers. And instead of owning up to it, he's out here trying to defend himself, which is only making the situation worse. In one of his latest streams, he boldly claimed that, quote, no one can cancel what they didn't build. But here's the thing, way bigger names with way bigger achievements have been permanently canceled in this industry for this exact same behavior. Thinking he's somehow above that might just be his Achilles heel. Axe has done and said a lot of questionable things over the years, but this one tops the list. Not only is it flat out wrong, but it's also just weird and gross. This is not the type of controversy he wants to be caught in, especially given how he built his career. The backlash from both critics and his own fans has been brutal, and he has no one to blame but himself. He thought fanning the flames of drama would put out the fire, when in reality, it's only made things worse. Unless he stops deflecting and blaming everyone else, things are only going to spiral further. And let's be real, he cannot afford to lose his audience, because once that happens, he loses the only leverage he has left. And no label is touching a canceled streamer. Trying to switch the narrative and make the situation about Drake versus Kendrick is not a smart move. Kendrick's fans already can't stand the guy, and they'll troll him to the ends of the earth if given the chance. Flexing his relationship with Drake and OVO over this incident isn't exactly the greatest look either. He's just making it easier for people to paint the narrative that his entire circle is involved in some pretty weird behavior. At this point, all eyes are on Axe. Every move he makes in the coming days is going to determine how this plays out. And the more he justifies what he did, the more intriguing and damning the situation becomes. Maybe Kendrick was right about him after all. A lot of people are calling Akademiks a weirdo. Maybe that's harsh. But then again, who can blame them? He did display some very weird behavior, didn't he? Now, hip-hop fans, what do y'all think about this mess Akademiks got himself into? Do you really think he can't get canceled for this, or is this the beginning of the end of his career? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This drama is far from over, and you definitely don't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.